Warriors host the Orlando Magic on Monday evening at our usual 7 o'clock tip. Good night from Chase Center. Warriors 119, Suns 116.
Ready for your next adventure? Welcome to San Francisco International Airport, your getaway to the world. With over 130 domestic and international destinations, SFO offers seamless travel experiences, stunning art installations, and delicious dining options. Whether you're flying for business or pleasure, our state-of-the-art facilities make your journey smoother than ever. Don't forget to explore our unique shops and local flavors. Pack your bags and take off from San Francisco International Airport. SFO, your adventure awaits.
Kia is the official automotive partner of the NBA. And we think about basketball a lot. The plays, the swagger, the glory, the game. And how we can elevate our own game with capability that takes us to another level. And ground clearance that propels us even higher. The 3-row 2025 Kia Telluride X-Line all-wheel drive. Kia, official vehicle partner of the Golden State Warriors. Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available.
The lights, the crowd, the moment. When the Warriors take the floor, greatness follows. At Cache Creek Casino Resort, every moment shines. Feel the rush as the reels spin. Breathe in our serene spa. Savor each bite in our award-winning steakhouse. And recharge in the comfort of our luxurious hotel. Cache Creek Casino Resort, proud partner of your Golden State Warriors. Please play responsibly.
What do you think makes the perfect snack?
It's gotta be when I'm really craving it and it's convenient.
Could you be more specific?
When it's cravenient.
Okay.
Like a freshly baked cookie made with real butter, available right down the street at AM/PM, or a savory breakfast sandwich I can grab in just a second at AM/PM.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Well, yeah, we're talking about what I crave.
Which is anything from AM/PM.
What more could you want?
Stop by AM/PM where the snacks and drinks are perfectly craveable and convenient. That's Cravenience. AM/PM, too much good stuff.
Happy holidays, Dub Nation. The deals are dropping, and Rakuten is here to help you save big this season. With Rakuten, you can stack cash back on top of holiday sales to maximize your savings. Whether you're shopping gifts for everyone on your list at your favorite stores or scoring 10% cash back at the Warrior Shop. Make this holiday season the most rewarding one yet. Join for free at Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
Thanks for showing up, Dub Nation. Nothing beats catching your Warriors live, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back. As the official ticket marketplace of the Warriors and the NBA, even if you're headed to the game last minute, Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can experience all the sights, sounds, and styles in person. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Warriors tickets today at Ticketmaster. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Warriors. See you courtside again soon, Dub Nation.
Hey, Dub Nation. If you're traveling to cheer on the Warriors this season, then the most important thing to pack is the United Airlines app. You can track your bags, change your flight or your seat, get a personalized map of the airport terminal, even talk to a live customer service agent. It's like having a travel agent in the palm of your hand for free. And yeah, that technically makes it a free agent. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
To Curry, pump fake, flyby, 3-ball, got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-WHO.
You wish you were here.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast was presented by ZipRecruiter. Looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One dribble back to O'Neal. He drops the ball. It's at midcourt. Booker gets it, heaves it to the basket. It's no good. The game's over, and the Warriors have won. I believe they missed it over and back there on that last play. But Golden State wins 119-116. They split the home and home with the Suns and breathe a sigh of relief. The losing streak is over. streamers come down from the ceiling, and the Warriors can feel a little bit good in a game where Draymond Green got ejected. Steve Kerr got teed up in the first half. They were down 14, but rallied for the victory.
And wow, did the Warriors need that. Golden State gets off the schneid after losing their last 3 straight games. A 3-point win tonight. It wasn't pretty. Gut check. But the Warriors get back into the win column. Hi again, everybody. This is Dan Avone, and welcome to Warriors Wrap-Up 119-116 as the two teams split the baseball series, the home and home, after losing that gut-wrenching loss the other night in which the Warriors turned it over some 20 times. The Warriors bounce back at home with a victory, 119-116. They win it by 3 points. So Golden State, after what had been just a dismal week now, taste a victory, and let's see if that can send them on their way. Orlando is in town coming up on Monday as they take on the Magic. So in this one, we'll just get things started in that first quarter because it was action-packed. The Phoenix Suns could not miss. The Suns shot 70% in the first quarter. Anytime a team scores 40-plus points in a quarter, that's not good defense. And you just have the feeling that there's no way, especially that team being the Phoenix Suns, not that they're a bad team, but that's not a star-studded cast, that they would cool down and that they would not be shooting. They were getting a lot of buckets at the rim. They did, and the Warriors were able to, of course, catch them and surpass them, taking a lead of their own late in the contest. But just getting back into that first quarter where they had 44 points, I'm talking about the Phoenix Suns. That first quarter also saw the ejection of Draymond Green. 21st time in his career that he's been tossed from a game, and I do want to start there. And I don't mean to editorialize. I know this is a postgame show. We'll talk about all the highs and lows and break down the box score and get into the happenings of tonight's contest, 119-116, won by that of the Golden State Warriors. But I had talked about this earlier today in Warriors wrap-up of the Warriors weekly show, and that is that Draymond Green, instead of going after one Dillon Brooks, who clearly was a disruptor, a guy who took a cheap shot at Steph Curry in the last meeting. It was the play of that of, I think, Dillon Brooks, disruptive with Moses Moody, just bullying the Golden State Warriors. And I mentioned this prior to tonight's game, that I felt that wasn't Draymond Green supposed to be that Warrior guard dog? Isn't he supposed to have the back? Isn't he the alpha dog, the alpha taking care of the rest of the flock, that being the Moses Moody's, the Steph Currys? He's supposed to be the big guy that's going to look after everybody. That's his role as sort of the enforcer that of the Golden State Warriors. And I underline that because I felt as though he was not confrontational with Dillon Brooks and let Dillon Brooks do what it is that he wanted to do, including taking out the Warriors franchise, that being Steph Curry. So getting back to the first quarter of this contest, again, I thought it was noteworthy that it was not Draymond Green, but rather Jimmy Butler took it upon himself, and he didn't waste any time going after Dillon Brooks and letting him know, bro, you're not doing that again. Butler got a bucket in close. He shoved Dillon Brooks, and if that wasn't enough, he threw the ball at him. Again, letting him know that what it is he did in the last game does not sit well with Butler, does not sit well with the Warriors. Somebody had to send a message. You can make it analogous to, a pitcher buzzing the tower of an opposing player in the baseball realm. But Jimmy Butler took it upon himself, not Draymond Green, but Jimmy Butler, to deliver that message to Dillon Brooks, who, by the way, as much as Dillon Brooks is capable of doing this, he had his hands in his pants and pretty much he was well behaved today. Although he had an effective contest. Again, I'll get into Dillon Brooks' numbers and we'll talk about his game. But in the second quarter, Draymond Green gets kicked out of this game. And I'm going to mention this because this is sort of what it is that I was alluding to. He doesn't get kicked out of the game for going after the likes of Dillon Brooks, but rather Connor Gillespie. Now, there is backstory to this. Take you back to the last game where Draymond Green had of his worst games, not only this season, but you could say arguably one of the worst games he's ever had as a Golden State Warrior. He turned it over 5 times. He was ineffective. He was the subject of just about everybody's wrath that had a hot mic here at 95.7 The Game or around the Bay Area. A lot of finger pointing at Draymond Green. In that game where he had the 5 turnovers, guess who picked him 3 times? Connor Gillespie. Connor Gillespie stepped in a few passing lanes and then clearly picked his pocket. And I guarantee you that Draymond Green had that in his head going into tonight's game. That little Connor Gillespie, who is just a kid who worked hard out of Villanova and sort of that feel-good story. I mean, he has very little talent, but he is a guy who can shoot it well, shooting at like 42% from 3. But just, I mean, the reason why he's getting run is because he's a hard worker. And so in the opening moments of this game, after getting picked 3 times by that of Connor Gillespie, in this game, in the opening moments, and I kept an eye on this, Draymond Green snares a rebound, and guess who picked him again? Plucked him like a chicken. It was Connor Gillespie. And I knew that Draymond Green had an asterisk next to his name. So sure enough, Connor Gillespie has a breakaway, and it's just him and Draymond makes a vintage Draymond Green defensive play, as only Draymond Green can do. No foul, no body contact down below. He gets all ball and sends Connor Gillespie to the floor. And he delivers a message to Gillespie, standing over him and barking. Why? Because he was frustrated of what it is that Gillespie had done to him. And so Gillespie gets to his feet and says, I don't know exactly what he said, but to my surprise, he also got into the face of Draymond Green. And then Draymond Green ultimately would shove him. I know on the broadcast that there happened to be this homer slant of, well, that's Connor Gillespie that cut off his path and Draymond didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, he did. You can't do that, Draymond. And if anybody thinks that was a quick tee, and listen, I'm not going after Draymond. Maybe I'm a little bit, but I'm a fan of his. But in this instance, Draymond Green deserved to get tossed. In fact, I'm surprised he doesn't get tossed from a lot more games like this because refs give him a lot of latitude. After he gets that first tee, he still likes to bark. Instead of walking on that razor's edge and getting away and just saying, okay, I'm on borrowed time here. I have to watch my P's and Q's. He still likes to get after referees, and referees will walk away more often than not from that of Draymond Green because they don't want to be the one responsible from removing someone like that of Draymond Green. But in this instance, the referee got it right. Teed him up for what it is that he did to Connor Gillespie, and then Draymond Green, after getting the first tee, continued and mocked the referee. By definition, my man, that's your second tee and you're gone. You can call it nitpicking, but Draymond Green has been, he's been on that, right at that cliff's edge for so many times after getting that first tee. And my point in all of this is it wasn't Dillon Brooks that he goes after, but it's Connor Gillespie. Again, it's not beef stew from Detroit, Isaiah Stewart, that he wants to go after. It's Salty Aldama. It's Gobert. It's the likes of people like Nurkic. Guys he knows he's getting no pushback from like that of a Connor Gillespie. I just had an issue with it. I'll move on. But Draymond got tossed from this game. Again, as I talked about leading into this contest, is he going to deliver a message to Dillon Brooks? No, he didn't want anything to do with Dillon Brooks. There's a little I'm just insinuating there's a little fake tough guy in Draymond Green over the last couple of games. But let's get to some of the highlights in this contest. And the highlight is one Will Richard. Will Richard, 19 minutes, the 5 rebounds, and he gets 20 points, including 4 threes. Now, listen, I don't want to turn this into, after winning a game, we should be in a positive note and a little sense of euphoria here. And and going after people, but where the hell was this guy the last 3 games? Will Richard, who didn't play the last 3 games, and I'm still trying to figure out why. It's not as though his play had dropped off considerably, and there's nobody really on that roster, especially when it comes to the bench, that I think leapfrog Will Richard. But for whatever reason, Steve Kerr decided to sit him the last 3 games again. I don't know why. And Will Richard, as a rookie, and that's the way you keep your head up if you're watching Jonathan Kuminga, if you're listening. He stayed in tune, and when his number was called, as they always say, I'll just be, rookie talk. When my number's called, I want to be ready to go. That's what he did. Will Richard was ready to go. Hadn't played, hadn't seen the court in the last 3 games. Boom. He was 5 for 5 from the floor, including that huge putback just before the end of the half, where he gave the Suns, who at one point had a 14-point lead, in that putback off the miss from DeAnthony Melton on the free throw right at the horn, just got it off just before the end of the first half, cut the lead to 3. And that was pretty significant, as the Warriors in the second half, in a pivotal third quarter, would then not only catch but surpass that of the Phoenix Suns. Butler was good again today. That was good to see. Butler sustaining good back-to-back basketball games. That's what you need to see a lot more of. And listen, when you see the Warriors, you know Steph tonight, by the way, in 35 minutes, he finished with 28 points after the off night, the other night in Phoenix, in which he had 15 points. But tonight, plus minus a plus 13, the 28 points, a double-double for Steph, 10 rebounds. He's always been a sneaky good rebounding guard, but he gets the 10 rebounds this evening and pivotal threes down the stretch. But the one thing we've said about the Golden State Warriors is that, Steph is going to be Steph. Jimmy Butler, of course, has been fulfilling his role, at least over the last 2 games, in terms of being the number 2 scorer in the game for that of the Warriors. But the question remains, well, who's going to be that 3 guy? We thought it would be Buddy Hield going into the season. Buddy Hield didn't see the floor today. And now, listen, Steve Kerr, now that I understand. This isn't about Buddy Hield hate. This is just Buddy Hield has not played well the entire season. Now, Buddy Hield not playing, okay, Steve, that makes sense. Will Richard not playing the last 3 games? I'll leave it alone. I get it. But Will Richard, once again, to me, player of the game, as he was just huge for the Warriors, who had 52 points coming off the bench, outscoring the bench, that of the Phoenix Suns, 52-21. Butler's numbers on the day: in 35 minutes, he finished with 25 points. Again, another very solid performance for Butler, as he gives you that presence from the paint. He did have a turnover in the contest, but he was effective. And when you have Steph and you have Butler, and then you have someone like that of a Will Richard, who is being your number 3, that's a good recipe for success of that of the Golden State Warriors. Butler and the Dubs in that third quarter would go up 6, 84-78 after a Butler 3 in the fourth quarter. This is also fascinating. Steve Kerr, which listen, who am I to go after Steve Kerr? It's just, you can't do one of these shows without highlighting the fact that this is nothing more than, I'll leave it at just sort of puzzling. How's that? Guy Santos, where are you, my man? It's the fourth quarter. Peel off the warm-ups, you're in. And it worked. Guy Santos, who doesn't play the entire 3 quarters, is now apparently the closer for that of the Golden State Warriors. Santos comes into the game, and in 7 pivotal minutes, he was good. He had a huge 3 from the corner, played good defense, and again, it's his energy. You know what, this game, which was not pretty. This game was back and forth, and it was a slugfest, and it just, it was one of those games that was just gut check, right? Just come out on top. Doesn't matter how you do it. But it was a little reminiscent when Steph Curry was out of the lineup and Podziemski wasn't playing role, and it wasn't the backups, but rather it was the guy behind the guy, to steal a line from Swingers, if anybody remembers that movie. Shout out Jon Favreau. But the guy behind the guy, and I'm talking about the backup to the backups, Pat Spencer, good to see him back on the floor. Not as pivotal as he was in that road trip, but good. There's such fluidity to his game that when you compare him to Podziemski, I just like the way he gets you into the offense. He's just a very fluid basketball player, and he knows how to distribute the ball. But it was Will Richard, it was Pat Spencer, and I like Trace Jackson Davis. Big block on the game, Trace Jackson Davis in his 17 minutes with 7 rebounds. And so it wasn't necessarily the Podziemskis of the world. And, of course, I don't know where Jonathan Kuminga is these days. I know he had an illness, quote-unquote illness. We don't really know anything more than that. That continues to be, very strange, but he wasn't available tonight. But rather it was the other guys in that of Pat Spencer and company and Will Richard that were the story in this contest. As the Golden State Warriors, as I talked about, they come up winners 119 to 116. They now have taken 2 of 3 games from that of the Phoenix Suns throughout this season. Let's do the Crashing the Boards, brought to you by Chilton Auto Body, the Bay Area leader in collision repair. Well, I know Steph Curry led the way with 28 points, but Will Richard, my man, you are the Crashing the Boards, Chilton Auto Body player of the game. Again, somebody who did not see any action for the last 3 games, gets his number called, and does not miss a beat. He was strong from the outside. And there's just something to young players when they come into a game that they just move differently. There's energy. You can clearly see that they have fresh legs, and it becomes infectious. And I thought that he was very, very good. Not just me, obviously. He was so significant in the victory today. And good to see Steph bounce back. Curry, who had, of course, just the 15 points the other night and did not play well. And you knew that Steph would bounce back, and he did, as Steph Curry hitting big threes late in the contest, a back-breaking 3 to give a Warrior lead that they would not relinquish. Shout out to Podziemski, who was instrumental in a significant rebound late in the game with the Warriors up just 3. The Warriors up 2. Connor Gillespie had an opportunity to give the Suns the lead, as he had a good look for a guy, once again, who's shooting at 42% from 3. He would miss it, and Podziemski with a gutty rebound inside to pretty much seal things for the Golden State Warriors. All right, let's open up the phone lines really quick. Okay, I'm going to take a call before we get to the break. 888-957-9570. We'll start things with Eric, who wants to get in on tonight's action as the Warriors come up 3-point winners. Eric, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, man? Back from the game. Really impressed. Kerr's got to get this kid Will Richard minutes. He reminds me of another late second-round pick. This kid's a stud. He just makes things happen. You saw it at Florida, and now he's seeing it here with the Warriors. So Kerr has no excuses not to get him in the rotation. He's got to be playing at least 25 to 30 minutes a game, because this guy is impacting, and the Warriors have no room for error right now at this point in their schedule. This is a young guy who's actually showing some promise. Unlike Kuminga, forget about Kuminga. I think the Kuminga experiment is going to be done. They're going to move on from him. I think, to me, Richard has got to be the future of this team. So Steve Kerr has got to stop messing around with the rotation where he's icing guys for games at a time after they produce. So you saw it again tonight. Just really impressed with what I saw. Jimmy Buckets was cut down the stretch. Curry was off himself. Draymond's got to get his stuff together, man. I don't know what the hell you're doing, mixing it up with a guy like Colin Gillespie. I mean, the guy is a fringe NBA player. Yes, no business mixing it up with that guy. So final point is for the Warriors now, there's no more excuses. You complain about their schedule. The schedule lightens up now. You got a bunch of home games, and you better take advantage of it, because if they can't take advantage of this stretch of home games, then I don't even know if they're going to be good enough to qualify as a playoff team. And you look at how tough the West is this year, there's no guarantee they're going to even get out of the play-in round this year. So this is a team you're going to be battling in Phoenix for that 7th, 8th seed. So luckily you won against them tonight, because I think you're going to be seeing them in the future in terms of battling for that 7th, 8th seed. So the Warriors got to make hay right now in this home schedule. They got no excuses and got to get rolling now because they put themselves in a hole, and we see how great the West is top to bottom. So hopefully it starts again with Orlando, a tough Orlando team on Monday night, and so on and so forth. Thanks for the time.
All right, Eric, thanks so much. Yeah, as you look at the standings, they stack up with the Suns now just 2 games over the 500 mark, still in front of the Warriors. The Grizzlies in front of the Warriors. Meanwhile, to your point, Eric, there are no guarantees because the Portland Trail Blazers, who have had the Warriors number throughout this entire season, breathing down the Warriors' neck, and the Dallas Mavericks, a team that I just circled that I think is going to get much better, and Cooper Flagg is real deal. Cooper Flagg is, there's very few guys that live up to the hype and even exceed it. Wemby being one of them, Wembanyama, and this kid, Cooper Flagg, 19 years of age, and if you happen to watch the Dallas Mavericks, yeah, he is that guy. He is that guy. And the Mavericks, I think, are going to just get even with Anthony Davis, if he's healthy. That's a team that can make some noise as well. But the Warriors, with a big victory tonight, as Golden State, as I talked about, having to come from 14 down, sort of a role reversal. Remember the Warriors on the road, had a double-digit lead in Phoenix and then relinquished that. And tonight it's the Suns, after starting things with a blistering 70% from the floor in that first quarter, then came back down to earth. And the Warriors were able to, of course, catch them and then hang on for a very difficult and hard-fought victory. All right, when we continue, we'll hear from Coach Steve Kerr. We'll continue to talk about tonight's win as the Warriors take care of the Suns. This is Dan Devone with Warriors Wrap Up. More after this.
What's your financial future look like? At Pettinelli Financial Partners, we help you shape it. Whether you're planning for retirement, buying a home, or saving for something special, our professionals are here to provide clear guidance and smart strategies. Visit PettinelliFP.com today and take the first step toward a more secure financial future. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos and Pettinelli are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill and see an amazing selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances live and on display in one of the largest living kitchens in the country. And save with Full Suite Savings Event. With qualifying purchase, get 3 additional years of protection or qualify for a $1,000 rebate. For the largest selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances, visit the Living Kitchen at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or at friedmansappliance.com.
Ready for the ultimate red and gold game day? Laughing Monk Brewing is the place to park, party, and ride. Skip the traffic. Forget the expensive parking. Park for free and dive into an epic tailgate with mouth-watering food, ice-cold Laughing Monk beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show with Lorenzo Neal and Evan Giddings. Then hop on the free shuttle minutes away from the stadium. Shuttles are first come, first served. So head to 957thegame.com to sign up and join the party.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Now it's time for the closer of the week. Presented by LiftMaster and RNS Doors. Turn your garage into the envy of the neighborhood. Visit rnsdoors.com.
This week's closer comes from Chris from Concord. Tony and Lennon were great. We replaced and upgraded our garage door systems. They were timely, very informative, and helped me set up the new garage app. We've used RNS on other properties and have always been satisfied.
Recently, my garage door opener was not working. I was in need of a closer. I was put in touch with RNS Doors, and they hooked me up with a brand new garage door opener from LiftMaster. With LiftMaster's MyQ connectivity, my garage door opener can be controlled right from my smartphone. You'll know when a door or gate has been left open and can close it with a tap, no matter where I am. Be one of the first 10 callers and receive 20% off a LiftMaster garage door opener.
Call 1-800-FIX-A-DOOR. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR. Or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios.
.4 is the time of the clock. The Warriors have to make sure they got to protect the basket, make sure there's no long pass that can lead to an easy bucket. Next free throw, no good. Tipped up and in by Will Richard at the buzzer. He caught it and shot it. They'll check it, but it looked like he got off before the lights went red on the backboard. If that stays, he's got 12 points, and the Warriors are down by 3.
Huge game on the part of the rookie Will Richard out of the University of Florida. That bucket just before the end of the half after a DeAnthony Melton missed free throw. And Johnny on the spot. Will Richard able to guide it back home. Warriors kept the lead to 3, had momentum going into the locker room. And in the second half, it was the Warriors that were able to come from behind and overcome a 14-point deficit and beat the Phoenix Suns tonight. The final score of 119 to 116 now, draw within one game of 500. Up next, they take on the Orlando Magic. The Magic have been somewhat of a disappointment this year out of the East, but Orlando still over 500 at 15-13, but a team that has been dealing with injuries, including their best player, that being Paolo Banchero. But throughout the season, they've been without Jalen Suggs, who was so key, I think, instrumental to the success of that team. Franz Wagner has been in and out of the starting lineup, as has been Desmond Bane. It's the Orlando Magic and the Golden State Warriors that will tip it off coming up on Monday. Warriors, again, win it by 3 tonight in a game that saw Draymond Green get ejected for the 21st time in his NBA career. Steve Kerr also received a technical in this contest. As, again, just to reiterate, it was Draymond Green that got into it with Colin Gillespie, not Dylan Brooks. But rather it was Jimmy Butler that early in the game delivered the message to Dylan Brooks, throwing the ball at him and throwing an elbow right at his chest just to let him know that what it is that he did in the last game is not going to be tolerated here this evening, especially on our home floor. Not Draymond Green, who's supposed to be the tough guy for that of the Warriors. Instead, Draymond wanted to go after Connor Gillespie. Why? Because Connor Gillespie had stripped him on a couple of occasions, including going back to the game the last time the two teams played, and then early in the contest today, after Draymond got a rebound, Gillespie came from behind and just took the basketball, and there was a mental note behind all of that. And, of course, the two would collide at a tremendous defensive play on the part of Draymond, but then Draymond got into his ear and then eventually shoved him, and as Draymond is wont to do, took it too far and then gets thrown out of this contest. But the Warriors, it used to be a time when Draymond would come out of a game and still, listen, he is still a defensive presence. He is still important to the success of this team. But I don't know, is the importance not as significant, not as apparent as it once was? Because with him out of the game, and you'd like him to be there, Warriors didn't necessarily miss a beat, and the bench was able to do what it is that they were able to do as the Warriors, again, win by 3. Let's hear now from the head coach of the Warriors. Here's Steve Kerr.
Obviously, that first quarter was not ideal for you guys, especially defensively. Obviously, Draymond gets thrown out, so things could obviously change no matter what. What changed for your guys to play the defense that they did down, for the rest of the game?
Yeah, the game settled down for us, after the first quarter. I mean, they came out, lights out, shooting. We made a few mistakes and gave them, some open looks, and then we buckled down defensively. The middle quarters were fantastic defense, and then, they broke free a little bit at the end, but we were able to hold them off.
Steve, you talked a lot this year about the importance of crashing, about being active on the boards. The bench had 12 offensive rebounds alone, and I think it was a team 26 second-chance points. Do you feel like you guys have really made progress or improvement in that aspect of the game? We have, yeah. The last few weeks we've made good progress in terms of, getting our offensive rebounds going, the crashing, which helps the transition defense, and then, tonight was really fun to watch Gary and Guy, and, Guy doesn't play the first 3 quarters and then has a great 6 minutes. He's a perfect bench guy. He brings energy, makes big plays. And obviously Will, putting him back in the rotation, wonderful to see him play the way he did. He was fantastic. I was going to ask, what did you think of Trace Jackson-Davis's performance? Trace did a good job. He's played really well the last couple of weeks. Just defensively, he's a force out there. And I just thought the whole bench really came in, did a great job.
Steve, obviously at this stage, any win feels good, but winning a clutch game, is that a little bit more satisfying because you guys have struggled in those games? Yeah, for sure. We've lost a bunch of close games. Some of them, the breaks haven't gone our way. The other night, the air ball from Brooks goes off the side of the backboard, and tough call. And the one in Philly, same thing, air ball. Last shot, offensive rebound. So we've had some bad luck, but we know we have to execute better down the stretch too. Tonight we didn't execute well, especially defensively. We gave up some open looks, and the 3-point play by Book, with about a minute to go is we can't do that. We can't have a full court press on and let them break free and go right to the rim. So we have a lot to look at and learn from.
Steve, Steph actually just acknowledged that he gets nervous when he needs 2 free throws late in a game like that, and so he smiles and mentally enjoys the moment and just tries to relax. Maybe is that it? Can he be an example for everybody if even Steph gets nervous? Everybody gets nervous. If you don't get nervous, then there's something wrong. That's when it's time to retire, and so that's a big part of it for every player is, learning how to control the nerves under pressure, be mindful and take a deep breath. And Steph's as good as anybody at that, obviously.
What did you think of the Draymond ejection, and how did you?
I thought it was weak. He was yelling at the refs, so he definitely deserved one. But then, he's walking to the bench and he yells something, and the second technical. We just saw a guy on their team literally punch Steph in the stomach and the other night, and premeditated, punches him in the stomach, no ejection for that. And then, 2 nights later, the refs got upset with, some words from Draymond.
I totally disagreed, and that's why I got my check, because I was furious that they booted him out just like that so easily.
I mean, you mentioned it within there. How upset were you guys the other night with that Brooks foul?
Yeah. I mean, how can you not be upset? I mean, this is a guy who broke Gary's elbow in the playoffs, clotheslining him with one of the dirtiest plays I've ever seen. So it's not like there's not a track record there. And it's right there. They look at it. I don't know what the point of replay is if you're not going to kick a guy out for literally punching somebody. It's bizarre to me that he was not, first of all, ejected from that game and then suspended or fined. Nothing. So apparently you're now allowed, this is my take, you are now allowed to premeditate a punch of any shooter who's left, like defenseless. You can now take a swing at him and know you're just going to get a flagrant one. So I don't know, maybe we'll do that. But probably not.
Speaking of Brooks, he got that third foul right before halftime. Did that kind of change any of your strategy going forward?
I thought that was a key play of the game. He fouls Steph on the three, and then we get the rebound, and we end up with 4 points, and felt way better at halftime. So that was a huge play.
Did you try and target him on defense, knowing that he is in foul trouble, to try and maybe get him out?
Brooks?
Yeah.
No, we weren't targeting him. He's a good defender. We were trying to spread the floor, get their fives, and pick and roll. And I thought Iguodaro did a really good job of staying in front. Steph made a couple tough shots over him, but they're a tough team. I have a lot of respect for Phoenix for the way they're competing this year. Jordan is doing a great job with them, and Brooks is a guy who. He gets under your skin, but he's a really good player, and he brings an attitude, to a team. And so I'm very impressed with what they're doing.
Steve, just to follow up real quickly, did you guys talk to anybody at the league office about the Brooks foul the other night?
Yeah.
What was the explanation?
No comment. Yeah, that's private. Yeah.
Specific to Draymond, when he leaves the game, what do you think changes the most offensively when he's not on the floor?
What changes the most? Well, we spread the floor a little bit, with QP when he's at the 5, and Jimmy's at the 4, so we start isolating more with Jimmy, and we miss Draymond's pick and roll game with Steph, the dribble handoff, all the stuff that they do. So it changes the game. But we've adapted pretty well this year. When Dre has missed games, our guys have settled in and done some good things offensively.
Tonight was the first time since Buddy became a Warrior that he registered a DNP. Yeah. Was that a premeditated decision, or was that
I replaced him in the rotation with Will. I told him beforehand I feel terrible. He had a streak of 199 games in a row, and it's one of the longest streaks in the league, and one of the things I love about Buddy, he's there for you every single night, and he's the greatest teammate ever, and just an amazing spirit, and key part of our team, and it felt terrible not to play him, but I sat Will the last 5-6 games, and we needed to get him back out there, and you could see why. Buddy's time will come back around. It always does. He's got the right attitude. He's going to keep working, getting shots up, and I know things will work out for him.
Steve, is it fair to say Will went 6 for 7 because you sat him and you knew how to motivate him to have a breakout game?
Yeah, it was all me.
You've talked about, like, you're playing a lot of guys, and over the course of the year, like, that's part of it. When do you say during the season, we got to get this down to, like, the guys, the 9-10 guys?
As soon as you're comfortable with two-way lineups, the ability to have lineups out there that can defend and score, and you're able to put together those lineups throughout the game for 48 minutes, then that's when you can say, all right, we're playing these 9 guys or these 10 guys, whatever it is. We haven't found that yet, and that's why you're seeing all the mix and matching. We've got some overlap with some players. I feel comfortable playing any of them, as you can tell, but I would feel more comfortable if we got to a regular set rotation. But I'm hoping that we can get there here, the next couple weeks. But I'm also aware that when we get there, you guys are going to be asking me about the 4 players who didn't play and why they didn't play. So that's what's the benefit of what you guys do. You just, whatever happens, just, ask questions. That's right.
That is Steve Kerr tonight after the Warriors' 3-point win over the Phoenix Suns. Interesting to note that he, and understandably, upset of what happened the other night in Phoenix when Dillon Brooks took that shot right to the midsection, going WWE right to a vulnerable Steph Curry who was shooting a 3. Dillon Brooks hits him right across the chest, and it's just a flagrant. There was no ejection. Now, I can agree with Steve Kerr, certainly, in that instance. But I do disagree on the coach that Draymond Green, in trying to equate it to Draymond Green, and that Draymond Green should not have been ejected. Now, listen, I'm not conflating the two. That on its own is worthy of an ejection when you talk about what it is that he did to Steph Curry in that game in Phoenix. But Draymond Green, and albeit maybe not as egregious, but again, by the letter of the law, what it is that he did to Connor Gillespie, getting in his face, barking at him, and then shoving him, is a technical. And then if you're going to continue to bark in the face of the referee, there's a good chance you're going to get rung up again. You got to walk away. And we've seen it on more than one occasion where Draymond Green has been given this leash where he'll get a technical and he feels as though that he still has the liberty or the latitude to continue to yell at referees. Whereas most players feel as though, okay, I need to keep my nose clean because another technical, I'm going to get run. And this ref just said, hey, you got 1 T and you're coming at me like this. Maybe it was a little quick, but again, I understand it. That doesn't justify or certainly doesn't explain away what happened to Dillon Brooks, who should have been tossed in that game. And so Steve Kerr's right. If you wind up and you hit a guy in the stomach after shooting a 3 while he's clearly exposed, then we shouldn't be expected to get kicked out of the game, according to the referees out there in Phoenix. Speaking of fouls, late in the game, I don't know if you happened to notice where Steph Curry, the Suns were deliberately trying to foul Steph Curry in the closing moments and send him to the line. And on 2 occasions, on one possession, first they shoved him in the back, and then they grabbed him, and there was no call. Steph just made a bucket, and it was just some of the most obvious fouls. They're trying to foul Steph. Everybody in the gym knows it. Everybody at Chase knows it, and yet there was no whistle. Very, very strange. Last thing I'll note on what it is that Steve Kerr had to say, that the Warriors do win a clutch game, in the closing moments after being so bad in clutch games this year. I believe they were 5-9 coming into tonight's contest, and they win tonight's clutch contest. But Steve Kerr said they still played poorly down the stretch. And I thought that was interesting from the head coach, because they did, despite winning a game that was going right down to the nub, the Warriors late in the contest gave good looks to the Phoenix Suns, including a 3-point play to Devin Booker. And so they made it a lot more interesting than it had to. So their defense down the stretch continues to be an issue despite the win tonight. So Steve Kerr, pretty candid. If people were expecting him to say, yeah, we straightened things out, it was a clutch game, but tonight we pushed all the right buttons and we played much better. And as a result, we won tonight's clutch game. No, it was just the opposite. Kerr said, we still didn't solve the issues that has been plaguing this team during games that are nip and tuck towards the end of the contest. And he said tonight was another example. But just luckily, the Warriors were able to get a fortuitous bounce or get to the free throw line and seal things. But he left the door was still open in terms of this team needing to improve their defense and huge possessions down the stretch in these clutch contests. But the Warriors do win it tonight. They win by 3. As the Warriors now get ready for an Orlando Magic team with Desmond Bane and company that has been good and bad. They were supposed to be the sexy pick coming out of the East this year, but they've been hovering right around 500, now about 2 or 3, I think 2 games over the 500 mark, but still a very dangerous team. You never want to point at injuries, but that's a team that has been without their best player, Paolo Banchero, shut out the University of Washington and Seattle, the pride of the Pacific Northwest. And Franz Wagner has been in and out of the starting lineup, as has been a guy that I think is just really their glue guy, that being Jalen Suggs. And also without Desmond Bane for stretches throughout the season. So Paolo Banchero still not going to be available, but the Warriors will take on a good Orlando Magic team as they try and make it 2 in a row after the win tonight. Speaking of injuries, before we get out of here, I think one thing you have to keep in mind for a Phoenix Suns team, and I'm with Coach Kerr, and I talked about this in the pregame show, that when you look at Phoenix and you look at their roster, you're like, okay, how are you over 500? Why are you a better team than that of the Warriors? You got Devin Booker, but that's about it. I know Dylan Brooks has been good, but I really do think it's not necessarily what Dylan Brooks does, and he is having a career high in terms of points being averaged this year, but it's the attitude. Suddenly Phoenix, and this clearly was not the case a year ago with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and that complete mess, that bloated payroll, they lead the league in steals. And they are an energized team that plays defense, that gets on the floor. Who does that sound like? It's Dylan Brooks. They are following the lead of who I think is, well, Devin Booker is their best player. I think the new leader on that team, the new sheriff in town in Phoenix, has made a difference, and that being one Dylan Brooks. I know he is public enemy number 1, cheap shot artist, no doubt about it. What he did to GP2 and certainly to Steph Curry, inexcusable. But I think if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, you're like, love me some Dylan Brooks. And you also have to keep in mind that the big centerpiece of that trade that sent Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, Jalen Green, who could be your 1 or 1A, has not suited up the entire season for that of the Phoenix Suns. So a lot to be determined between now and then. As Steve Kerr talked about, we still need to narrow down the rotations. They're still in a building process. There's a lot of teams that are in flux, including the Mavericks, a team behind them. At some point, Memphis is going to get Ja Morant back. They'll get healthy. So it's a big win. And again, it is going to be interesting from here on out. That's going to do it for me for Warriors Wrap. This is Dan Vone. Keep it, stay tuned right here. We've got you covered on 95.7 The Game. Up next, of course, it's the 49ers on a Monday night. All the coverage. You know what to do. You know where to go on the dial. But for me, that'll do it. My man Cam Williams. Pasta, I love you. The Warriors are 119-116 victors. Until next time, Dan Vone saying so long, everybody.
This season. They've just ended the overtime period, and pending review